the dynamics is different from the last time we disagreed on this subject. So let's see. That is a joke.
My sister Rachel was married to Daniel, who's 40, for 8 years. They were high school sweethearts, and they tied the knot shortly after graduation. They had a daughter together, Alice, who's 16, who was Rachel's entire world. Rachel ended up being diagnosed with cancer when she was a few weeks away from delivery, and after Alice was born, she started chemo ASAP. The cancer ended up being treatment resistant and aggressive, and Rachel ended up passing by the time that Alice was 2. Daniel emotionally checked out completely. He decided to take a job opportunity abroad, and he left Alice in my wife's custody. At first he said that it was temporary, that he just needed to get things in order before Alice came to live with him, but eventually it was obvious that it would be much longer. He signed over his rights to us, and we've been raising Alice alongside our 3 sons. As far as the boys are concerned, Alice is their big sister, and as far as Alice is concerned, they're her little brothers. Daniel got remarried and has 2 daughters. Oh, that stings! Alice was not invited to the wedding. We only found out about it after his brother mentioned it to us. Daniel does send money to her, and they write letters back and forth like he and Rachel used to do in school. I know there has to be some part of him that loves his daughter, but it's hard to believe it considering how he practically abandoned her after Rachel died. Daniel's brother, Wes, has helped out a bit with Alice too. Alice will go over to his house at least once a month to see him, his wife, and their kids. A few days ago, I was taking Alice over, and when we got there, we saw that Daniel plus his wife and his kids were there. I was ready to get back in the car and take Alice home, but Daniel saw us and came outside. He came up to Alice and tried to hug her, but she stepped back from him. He looked hurt, and when he asked why she didn't want to give her dad a hug, I snapped. I asked, how could he seriously stand there and refer to himself as her dad when all he's ever been to her is a pen pal? I called him a joke of a father and a sorry excuse for a man. His wife and their daughters overheard what I said. When Alice and I got back home, Wes called me and left me a message saying that he agrees that Daniel hasn't been the best father to Alice, but I didn't need to tell him that in front of his wife and their kids. Daniel feels the same way. I did apologize to Alice for disparaging her father, but she just shrugged and said that it would have only been disparaging if it wasn't true. My wife said that she probably would have done worse if she'd been there, but part of me does feel that I could have said it out of earshot of his children.
Okay, go ahead, Theos.
I mean, I ain't got a whole lot to say. I mean, grief manifests in different ways. That's just an explanation, not an excuse. Once you signed over rights to that child, stop calling yourself dad unless that child decides that you should have that title. Because you can work past things. You can work past decisions that were made at any point into the future. So they could have reconciled and all that, but they didn't. And he's been raising this girl as his child, and she's part of his family. She's sheltered, she's loved. And then this jackass over here just wants to flex for, shits and giggles, and he called him out. I don't know where the disagreement really could be on this one, dog.
Well, I thought the disagreement would have been calling him out in front of the other wife and kids.
No, not really, not in this particular case, because he stunted on them in front of the wife and kids. You see what I'm saying? Like, you chose the venue. I didn't choose the venue. If it was up to me, we wouldn't even have had the conversation at all. Because I was trying to avoid the whole situation. I was trying to protect my little girl from a situation that neither of us would feel comfortable in. But you decided you want to pretend like this is Shakespeare's greatest moment on stage and just create something of, hey, you read your lines, I read you for filth. Let's go.
Okay. Then I agree then. I totally agree.
No, I agree completely that he needed to be put in check, and like Alice said, It's not disparaging him. It's just saying the truth. This is very simple. So
Tracy?
I'm making 444. It's this guy is a douchebag. He didn't even. He just okay. I'm gonna go overseas for a few months, and then never came back. Then got married. Then tried to connect to his child. Dude, you trash. I don't know if I would have done it in front of the kids, but they probably did. He probably didn't even tell his new wife, "Hey, I have a daughter, and I just left her, and I just popped off and left and came over here." I'm most willing to bet they don't know anything about her.
Definitely guarantee the kids don't know. Guarantee the kids don't know. He got a whole new world he didn't develop for him. The wife might have an idea, but not really know the real story because a guy like that not going to paint himself in a bad light. He'll say something like, you know, I had them help me take care of her or something, and they refused to give her back, or my wife, this was her wishes, or any number of things. But he ain't gonna tell the truth.
Well, yeah.
But
What is he gonna say? Hey, I left my daughter in the care of her uncle. Her uncle, or was it her uncle?
it wasn't even an uncle. I think it was like their friend.
Yeah, family friend. Not even. He didn't have the decency to leave the child in care of his relative. He was just like, "Oh, I'm out."
All right. So this is 4 for 4 then. So cool. No, there is no reason for you, Carl, to say you should have did it in front of the wife and kids. I agree with Theas. They was at the place. You was there, and you decided to flex in front of your wife and kids and hug this girl that you
Don't know.
basically ain't taken care of. I get that you sent money and writing her like a pen pal and all this other stuff, and that's somewhat made you feel good about yourself if that's all that you really need from your child of your wife who died. But whatever. But what I don't get is the part nobody else have said. You went to your brother's house. You still wasn't even going to visit your daughter. This happened to be a circumstance. This happened to be a happenstance that the friend brought the daughter over to the uncle's house. You happened to be at the uncle's house. Bet me any amount of money that you was gonna go over to uncle's house, say hello, how you doing, and then leave again. Don't even try to visit your daughter. But you want to act like daddy.